quietly, they moved production to in-house in 2014. What they didn't tell you was that the Odd Gentleman took the Homestuck Kickstarter money and then spent it on King's Quest. Yeah. I imagine most of us who backed the Homestuck game were pretty curious about what was going on. And so the person in the Tumblr post talked to Hussie from time to time, asking about what happened, and got some kind of cagey responses, and eventually said that he can't tell anything anywhere but through Kickstarter because of the settlement he signed. So in the Kickstarter, the person submitted like an inquiry to Kickstarter and got this huge steaming load of BS, and it was kind of just talking about there was a lot of embezzlement and fraud that had happened. According to the timeline that we've been able to put together, $788,000 went to the Odd Gentleman in 2012 to develop HiveSwap right after the Kickstarter. And then they kind of proceeded to do next to nothing. They blew up every dev schedule that they had agreed to. The game was supposed to be done in October of 2014, by the way. Instead, that was when What Pumpkin ended up having to switch to in-house development and start from scratch. The document included a detailed rundown of everything the Odd Gentleman did in summary. Here's a quote here. Over 8 months of development, the Odd Gentleman produced exactly one playable build. It is a single room involving one character, no animation, and almost no other key features. Virtually nothing works properly and was submitted in February 2014, and no improvements or additional versions were submitted beyond that date. A link to it is included, and if any of you are interested, I can send you the Tumblr link. I tried clicking that link, and it does not work because it is an archive site. But if you guys want to see this actual Tumblr post, I can send it to you. Just meet me outside of the panel, I'll give you the link. But pretty much the Odd Gentleman just gave up working on HiveSwap because they were to develop the new King's Quest game. However, instead of dropping out of developing the game, they just kind of decided not to tell What Pumpkin and keep the money. And so they spent the $788,000 that they were given on King's Quest. After months of plateaus, refusals to communicate, at one point Andrew Hussie actually moved, like he physically moved to be closer to the Odd Gentleman's studio so he could go visit to see what the heck was going on, and they wouldn't let him inside. What Pumpkin realized they had to drop the Odd Gentleman, so they terminated the contract. At that stage, the Odd Gentleman said they had $390,000 left of money What Pumpkin gave them that they hadn't spent on development. But in the 7 months it took them to agree on a settlement, they spent $170,000 of it on King's Quest. They didn't even try to hide it, they just straight up said they had already spent it. They already spent it after they officially stopped working on the game. And we're like, haha, whoops. But we're pretty sure most of the money they spent on HiveSwap's development before they picked up King's Quest and went to the Wayward Manor, they didn't get any of that money back. And the workload, so basically it was like they were overestimating man hours, they were overpaying people, but the money that was actually spent on the development most likely was not spent on Homestuck's game development. Andrew Hussie mentioned that this was one of the biggest reasons for the gave a pause. Because dealing with the Odd Gentleman's incompetence meant he couldn't really work on the comic when he was with lawyers. So the person on the Tumblr said, quote, "Why am I posting this? Well, King's Quest was developed with stolen money, so it's probably in your best interest to know this before you buy it, all things considered. It's a miracle that HiveSwap is doing as well as it is. At this point, I think HiveSwap has moved past this fiasco and isn't in any danger of falling through. But it's pretty late from what I've seen. They were on their way to an actual game that may be actually good despite getting jerked around by a circus of incompetent clowns for 8 months. At this point, I'm not sure what to do about this. While Pumpkin is bound by the settlement they had to sign if they wanted to get any of the money back at all. So there's not much that they themselves can do to retrieve the money the Odd Gentleman stole from us. I tried messaging Sierra, the company that licensed King's Quest to the Odd Gentleman, but they didn't seem to care that King's Quest was made with stolen money. Maybe Activision might want to know. In any case, it's important to get this info out there so that people that are dealing with this when they buy something from the Odd Gentleman." So, what do you guys think about that? Did any of you know about that before this?
Yeah.
Vaguely? Because I had no clue until I started like re-putting together this panel, and I was like, what?
I think I saw that.
Yeah, it was because that post was taken off Tumblr, so it was kind of just like, oh yeah, something happened, but I was able to find the post. Yes, Jade. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think think part of that's also just because they had to learn how to develop a game themselves, and learning how to make something 3D rather than using a drawn 2D, which is a style at least Hussie's known. It's probably a little bit easier for them to manage and try to get the game out at some point. You have a glove on.
Do I need the microphone? Pass it over. Wait. Okay. Works? Okay. I feel like I should point out, because you mentioned Wayward Mansion, that same thing happened to Neil Gaiman, because the guy who wrote The Graveyard Book and Good Omens, he's had a Kickstarter for that game. He raised a lot of money. He hired Odd Gentlemen to make that game, but most of the money went to like King Quest and like other games. And by the time they actually got to the actual game, Wayward Mansion, the game was like so buggy. It got really bad reviews. Like it just barely any of the money from the Kickstarter actually went to that game. So it's like this has happened before. This is not the first time they've screwed over someone else. So I should mention that. Sorry.
Right, and I know you guys weren't around during the craze that was the Homestuck Kickstarter. Hussie only asked for $500,000 and ended up making $2.8 million. So there was money. So only about $800,000 of money did go to the Odd Gentlemen, so they still had this money because they were paying in installments for the game. So in that regards, we're really lucky that they were still able to have funding to make the game, because we totally overfunded that game. So kudos to you guys, because you're the reason we still have the game coming out at one point, so yay. Give yourself a round of applause. So yeah, does anyone else have anything they want to talk about the new upcoming video game? Yes, with the hat, the sand hat.
So, in the beginning, they're actually...
I couldn't hear you, the mic is cutting out.
There actually is an epilogue now.
Is it out?
Yeah.
What? So who wants to read the epilogue?
I just literally witnessed everyone whip out their phone.
Guys, we have a thing here for Colossalcon.
Guys, I know we're excited. I'm gonna connect to the Wi-Fi and we're gonna do it. Wait, guys, connect to the Wi-Fi.
Run! Just run away.
If you guys have not read Act 7, please, you may step off the panel room and I will make an announcement when you guys, you have a siren feature. We will announce when you guys can come back in.
Please.
Oh my gosh, okay, I'm clicking the link. Can you guys see it?
No.
How do I make them see my Google Chrome?
Stuck on Pancrase.
We were not planning on this at all.
Everyone's kind
I know, the guy's gonna come help us. If you guys have not seen Act 7, you can step into the hallway with Roxy and she will assist you. How do you see the epilogue? Because I don't see it. Okay.
I'm not seeing anything after the end.
Just look up Homestuck epilogue.
Yeah, guys, the panel will continue after this, I promise.
I'm too excited.
Hey guys, if you're reading it on your phones, we're about to attempt to pull it up here.
Yeah, there will be
So you guys, if you guys want, you can pause and actually we can all watch it together.
There's nothing.
No, it shouldn't.
I can't find it, but
We can pretend to be like each other.
it's real. That's the beginning. It looks like
Okay, so you guys should be able to see my computer in just a second. Keep changing. Yeah! Let's read the Homestuck epilogue. Okay.
What is this? Oh, I did believe
Chase, you can go sit in the front if you want so you can actually see it.
I can fly out. Just like during the fall.
I don't know how far over this goes. I'm gonna like wiggle it so you guys can see it more. There you go.
Me too.
That's
been out for years.
I didn't see anything on the thing, but we'll scroll down. We'll see if there's any text. Oh, something's happening. Is that from Star Wars?
No, this is still well.
What if he didn't actually give us a Homestuck?
And there's no notes down there. What the heck are you doing, Hussie?
Oh my god, I'm crying.
Problem suit is a different comic.
I want to say this. I'm confused.
I think we are. Did he say which epilogue?
I guess we all have to read problems in order to understand what the heck's happening in the epilogue.
No, this is the problem suit's epilogue. It had its own epilogue.
So this
Because
came
it
out.
didn't make any sense either.
Oh my god. I think he trolled us.
What?
Is this?
How did you find? Sans, come here. Sans, help us find it. Is this what you read or no? I don't think this is the epilogue.
For a different comic.
Keep reading.
Is this the problems with epilogue or did we just troll my husband?
No, it's the problem suit epilogue.
He
It's been
never
out for
told us which
7
epilogue
years.
it was.
Okay, we'll let it go back in.
I'm a little afraid about it.
Oh my god.
Turns out it was the problems with epilogue and not the Homestuck epilogue. We've just been trolled. I was so excited.
God, I almost started crying.
You can't do that.
We were all trolled. His entire panel just got trolled.
Yes.
Who has seen the picture of Andrew Hussie holding a box of tampons going around?
It was the problems with epilogue.
We got trolled. It wasn't an actual, it wasn't the Homestuck epilogue. It was the problems of whatever. Yeah, we were.
Hey guys, Aaron's question was, why do you guys think that Andrew Hussie was carrying a box of tampons?
Why not?
No, this is
Okay,
not.
here's my theory. I honestly thought he was about to shove like tampons in Gamzee's blowholes or something. I hope you guys know this is one of my future possibilities.
We're really sorry that everyone we made run out. It was not the actual epilogue, and now we're all just really, really sad.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
We'll move on to the last bit of the panel then. Yeah, just non-stop disappointment. Okay, so Homestuck's gotten very, very popular. So, of course, Hussie wants to be able to make money on this because it's his job. So he partnered with Wheel of Fine to create merchandise, which you can buy online very easily. He used to have his own store, the What Pumpkin store, but he shut that down mostly after his partnership with Wheel of Fine. After what we just talked about, it kind of explains why things were consolidated on his end. You can buy legit merch of Homestuck at Hot Topic stores as well, though there are many less items than what's available on Wheel of Fine. Just a note, Hot Topic is kind of notorious for stealing art on shirts, and the most recent wave of Homestuck shirts, one artist did claim their art was stolen. From what I did research about it, the art was submitted to the contest that Hot Topic hosted with Wheel of Fine for the Homestuck tees. Even though the shirt did not win first place, it was still printed, and per the terms of agreement, it could have still been printed, and the artist didn't have to receive compensation because it was an entry to the contest. The post that the artist had made about it was taken off Tumblr, but all we could find was a statement saying the case was settled by the artist. So the shirt of the 6 girls is the one that was being debated. It really isn't. Oh, okay, so the artist said it was, and then it really wasn't. It was per the terms and agreements of the contest. It was a big misunderstanding on a lot of people's parts from what we've been understanding. If you do not wish to give money to Hot Topic, yes. If you don't wish to give money to Hot Topic because of stolen shirts, I get it, though my Jake over there works there and I get discounts. You can still buy the same merch on the Wheel of Fine website. But what do you guys think? Should Homestuck things sell like it does online? Should more merch be available in stores? Should Hussie allow fans to sell fan art at conventions? All of the above. So more stuff online, more stuff in stores, also fan art. Keep Wheel of Fine. too, and I'm really excited.
Okay, but even smaller, like Homestuck needs like the sticker that Jade gave me. Like I totally pay for this. Oh, is that Jade? Hi. That Jade is amazing. I got a little Christmas sticker.
But I think part of the reason why Hussie doesn't love fan art is just because it's like really, really hard for like the copyright thing. And I think that with the incidents he had to deal with the Odd Gentleman, I think it kind of makes sense why he's been pretty harsh on it, because it's like he's got to make money for the Kickstarter and to get that game out somehow. Before we move on to the next slide though, because I want to give that slide the least amount of time possible, just because I know how things get when we bring up the next slide. So, yeah, that's the next one. I have a disclaimer in it. We're being nice.
Someone's gonna die.
They know, you knew what it was.
Rollins will die.
No.
Shipping trash.
You can be shipping trash in the photo shoot at 4. Unfortunately, our Roxy will not be at that photo shoot because we're also hosting a panel at the exact same time.
Wait, are you telling me I'm not able to
Anyway, I'm just gonna move on. The convention scene. Note, I don't want this to be harping. I don't want any of us to feel like we're just gonna be talking about the negative things of Homestuck at conventions, because we've done that at panels, and it just makes everyone really, really sad and angry, and so we're not gonna talk about any horror stories at all, ever. I'm going to briefly talk about some of the things, and we're going to talk about how we can make this fandom awesome. We are not going to harp on bad things, because that just makes everyone sad. You with me?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, we kind of have a little bit of a bad rep at conventions. Just from the horror stories we've heard of bathrooms, Sharpies, the lack of ceiling paint, some people are just really not cool with us at cons. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull up a little cheat sheet that we made for you guys of how to basically survive a convention as a Homestuck and try to get through all of the hate people give us. So yeah, seal your paint. Water-based paint is great, so things like Snazaroo, they mostly seal themselves when it's in a drier climate. When it's hot and moist out, you have to make sure that you seal it with baby powder. Or you can use like elf sealant spray. There's lots of things you can use. So you can't swim with water-based paint because it will come off with water no matter how you seal it. If you're doing a shoot at like your private pool at home or something, there is water paint, like paint that is waterproof you can buy. You can only use it with an airbrush machine, which you can get for like, yeah, you can use it without an airbrush machine. It's like the paint specifically for it though. It is waterproof and you can only get it off with rubbing alcohol, but you can get that if you want to do underwater shoots. So any of my Homestucks who like swimming, note.
But do not do it in like places like this or like any.
Yeah, because these places, like, they get really finicky, like if you even wear makeup in the pool, because I got yelled at. Anyway, so not every cosplayer is going to be your headcanon cosplayer or the canon body type. We're all nerds in costume having fun. So it's important to remember that when we're interacting with each other. If you see a cosplayer who looks really, really shy and like alone and they may not be like the perfect cosplayer, but they aren't getting like a lot of attention because their cosplay is big or fancy, just go tell them their cosplay rocks and you'll totally make someone's day. Like you have no clue how much a little thing will make someone happy. Yes?